If your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle, this is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle. Under pressure, never break or fold. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now welcome to the hustle. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hustle, hustle, yeah. Hustle, hustle, yeah, yeah. Hustle.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Hustle Podcast. And today it's a very special episode. I'm joined by two people that, for one, I have Paul Hing here from Plate and Post Media. He's never been on a podcast before, and it's his first time on the Hustle Podcast.
That's right.
Welcome.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
He's the special guest host for today.
Thank you.
But we have a special guest that he's one of the best chefs in the city, in my eyes.
Hands down.
Bistro Nolah, some of the best food. We were there last week, me and Jimmy. We had the duck confit. That's why I'm going to call you the king of confit right now. Richard Taitt in the building. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me.
So how has your weekend been? I know that the restaurant business is getting busy right now. Summer's on its way.
Weekend was hectic.
Weekend was hectic.
Weather's getting nice. People are getting out. Anticipating opening up the patio anytime soon, which is a whole other can of worms. Example, if we were open today, it would be a patio day.
Yeah, for sure.
It was
It is
nice,
a patio
right?
day.
And that's it, man. Just looking forward to the summer.
So, Chef Richard, tell us a little bit about the backstory. We had the pleasure of recording you on another podcast recently.
Yeah.
I heard the whole story and everything, but we're on a whole different podcast now.
That's it.
So we got to run it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but we got to run down the backstory.
Okay, so what's the backstory that you
I want to know what led you to get into cooking.
Oh boy. Okay. So that how can I sum this up in like 10 minutes? It started with grandmother and mother, right? That's the first introduction to the kitchen. And I had no clue that cooking was gonna be my career. That was just like I was thinking of so many other things growing up, right? Things changed. I guess I can't even say that because I gotta go forward and then work backwards. So first introduction to food professionally on any level was fast food. So I was Burger King. And ran the gauntlet from A to Z. So started off as a regular student doing all the grunt work, to swing manager, to second assistant, to first assistant, to head manager. And even along the way, I was offered an opportunity, which, sometimes you have regrets, to leave Montreal and go to Toronto and probably become, I know for a fact if I had pivoted and made that move, I would have become a supervisor with the company. So that was my real introduction to food. And it's interesting because all those skills that I picked up there, I never thought I would use them for anything else, right? And then now we come full circle, and it's actually relevant to what I'm doing today. So I transitioned from that. One of the supervisors there at the time left the company and started working for, I don't know if you're familiar with Pennzoil, but before it was called Pennzoil, it was called Jiffy Lube. So he was a part of that company when they decided to open up here in Quebec. So he reached out to any head managers that worked for Burger King at the time. So he offered me a job to go there. And when you work in that fast food environment, it's all about learning a system. So when you learn that system or a system, if you're that type of manager that can learn systems, it doesn't matter if it's food, Jiffy Lube, they're all systems, right? So there was opportunity there for me as well, but that wasn't my thing. Oil changes and that sort of thing. And I decided to get out of there, right? And I still wasn't sure what I was doing. So I got a job at the MGH hospital, Montreal General, in the kitchen. again, but now doing grunt work. But I'm older now, right? And you know what it is the 5 days a week, no weekends, 1 month vacation, unionized, sick days, blah, 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 blah,
Very
blah,
safe.
blah. You know, it'd be like going to jail. It's like, you know, basically like, it's just like you can't get fired for anything there. You would just stay there and work and then retire, right? And I don't throw any shade on anyone working in that environment. It's a job and it takes care of families and stuff, right?
But it sounds mundane.
Yeah, but if you have that thing inside of you, that thirst for more, then you know you basically would be selling yourself out by not leaving that ecosystem or whatever you want to call it, right? But I get it because you're talking about a secure job. You know, like there's no way for you to lose that job unless the government decided to cut 10 or 15% of the workers, right? And even then, on some level, you would never get affected. So, anyways, I worked in there, and the same thing again. Like I've been using this terminology lately. You know, like I'm like a sponge. I just soak things up, right? So yeah, I could have just stayed there and do the regular thing, clean and do whatever mundane task they wanted me to do. But I started to learn the different positions in the kitchen, and then opportunity presented itself. And I was able to transition from what I was doing, the general work, to working with food. But then again, now in that system, because it's a unionized system, you can only go so far based on union rules, right? So I could be a cook's helper, but I could never be a cook unless I had papers, right? So I stayed in there for, I don't know, I think 4 years, give or take. And then I transitioned into housekeeping because in there was starting to get crazy. We were in the process of centralizing the kitchen. There was construction going on. People were more grumpy than normal. It was just like going into a combat zone every day, right? I said, forget this. Looking at my fellow housekeepers back in the day, they're just chilling, coming in, no stress, no fuss, no muss. So I transitioned from the kitchen into housekeeping. But then your mind works like, okay, what do I want to do? There's no way I'm staying in here till I turn 60. It ain't happening. But what do I want to do? So 2 guys that I work with, one at the time I believe was Carmen Lombardi, and then a buddy of mine, Alfonso. They both went to culinary school. Alfonso is the main reason why I ended up going, because I pushed him to go. So he went. He finished the program and he ended up working at a hotel part-time. And for the life of me, I don't know why he came back to the hospital. I was like, what are you doing? You know? But he came back to the hospital and I was ragging on him. And then he says, why don't you go try it out? I said, you know something? Why not? So I went in, registered, started the course, and like the rest is history. When I got in there, I said, yeah, I can do this. It was just a good fit.
Okay, so when you got into the chorus,
Yeah.
it was obviously like your friend told you, why don't you try to
Yep.
do this? You got into it. When did it actually become the passion? Like,
I'm going to say not even 2 to 3 months in.
wow, okay.
2 to 3 months in. Things just clicked.
Like, this is it.
Like clicked, you know, and I pride myself on a lot of things in regards to taking that course. And it speaks volumes to when you want something, you will achieve it, and you will achieve it at a high level, right? And I mean, I went in there. There was other students in the course that actually had restaurant experience. Forget everything else I did, but I'm talking actual restaurant experience. They were there just to get their papers, right? So in that setting, it's a little bit intimidating, right? Because you have people who've been working for 2 or 3 years out in the industry coming back now to take a course, right? And you're going through all these modules. So for me, now we're talking after the fact to look back and say, well, look, you never had to do a retake on anything that was shown to you. You graduated top of all the classes that year. 2 2-day classes, 2-night classes. You're allowed to go to any restaurant in the city for your stage. Normally, teachers place you. They gave me carte blanche to go to the whatever. You pick, we're going to make it happen. Then to go and work in the industry, and then as a former student to be invited back to teach. So that's like, just like layers of this within
A semester.
the field that I studied for, right? To start off as a student, graduate with honors, go out to work. Then my chefs, instructors, inviting me back
like a full
into the
circle
space to teach new students coming out of the program. You know, you can't write a better story.
It's full circle right there.
It's full circle.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what do you think gave you the ability to absorb things so quickly and just to be able to do it so naturally? Like, was it the systems that you used to work in?
For me, I think that's just human nature.
Okay.
I'm sitting here on your podcast with all this gear around me. I'm gonna form the opinion that you guys love video,
Pretty
pictures,
much.
You could say that, yeah.
creating content, right? So you thrive. This is what you will thrive in, no matter where you go. You're here in Montreal, but you can take this show on the road and be in Miami or be
Anywhere. It could be worldwide. It could be worldwide if you think about
worldwide,
it.
right? So I think it just applies to anything. I mean, it's not only me. There's a lot of success stories of people who, when you find something that you're good at and passionate about, because there's this voice in your head that always tells you that you're not in the right space. Some of us listen to it, some of us don't listen to it, and then you look back 25 years later, and then you have regrets, right? Why didn't I do X, Y, and Z? I've been in this 30 years. I never wake up in the morning saying I'm going to a job. It's not a job. It's not a job.
Yeah.
I love all the craziness about the industry. I love feeding people. I love the mise en place. I love, transitioning from a cook to a sous chef to an executive chef to running, or managing anywhere from 10 employees to 100 employees. I just love everything about it. In anything that you do, there's going to be politics. It doesn't matter. The politics should never really sour your desire or passion for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I have politics at the restaurant. You guys are working together, so maybe it's a little different. But if you're working for an agency or whatever, it doesn't take away from the fact that you love what you do. But going into that space where there's politics, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, that has been the journey to where I'm at, today. And that was the other thing of knowing, but not knowing when I would actually have my own place.
That's what I wanted to get into.
So there was always the desire to have my own place, but I didn't put pressure on myself as to when it would happen. I just prepared myself for the opportunity if it would ever present itself with a concept and what I'd want to do. I know it would get tweaked, but it's not like, let's say someone walked in to your space tomorrow and said, you know what, I don't know, how would you guys feel about running a movie company or something? Are you ready to logistically put everything together and go? Or do you need to take some time to sit and work out all those logistics?
Sure. Yeah.
You see, for me, it was ready to go. It was ready to go. And the mechanics of making it work were, let's say, 80% there. Because there's always that 20 or 15% that you don't know. Working for someone and being the executive chef is one thing. Now I can tell you, because all the times when I was executive chef, it was always like, what's wrong with this owner? Why doesn't he want to do X, Y, and Z? Now I'm wearing that owner hat, right? And now I look back at my younger self in those roles and go,
I get it now.
now I get it now.
Yeah.
Now I get it now, right? And that was it. When the opportunity presented itself, we, just basically hit the ground running, but a lot of thought went into it.
Something you might not know about me. I actually used to own a restaurant as well for about 2 years. It was
I think you mentioned
that I'm not sure if I did,
Okay.
but it was one of the most stressful situations of my life. It actually pretty much destroyed my whole routine of doing things. And I remember I used to sleep in the restaurant. I had a couch downstairs. I used to lock up at night, sleep there, wake up in the morning, open up the store. And it got to the point that for about a year and a half, I probably never watched TV one time. I didn't know what was going on news-wise. The only thing I was thinking about was the restaurant. A lot of people don't, we hear all the glam side of the restaurant business. The fancy plates, the making money, a lot of happy customers. But what about the downside, the stress and all that stuff?
Well, okay, so, what you experience, a lot of people experience. I always say you got to walk before you run. And there's this myth, a lot of people believe that, I don't know what to do. I have some money. Let's open a restaurant. But they don't understand what the commitment is to having a restaurant. And it's like anything else. If you want to be an entrepreneur, that means that you're on 100% of the time. Even when you're off, you're on because you're not you're not punching a clock 9 to 5
No.
and weekends off. Place burning down or not burning down, it has nothing to do with you. No, this is your business. This is your livelihood, right? So when you check in, you truly check out when you walk away from the business.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're checked in, right? So what you just shared with me, I've heard that I don't know how many times. People get in and you can't, this is another big myth in this business. People believe that if they're rich, they're millionaires or whatever, that all the money in the world can fix this situation. I'm sorry, if you don't know what you're doing, this is one industry that will burn your bank account, and it will burn it like you would not believe.
To the ground.
To the ground, right? Because these guys tend to get into, they don't do it on a small scale. No, they're going to go and open up a 200-seater.
Yeah.
They're going to spend tons of money on making it look Instagram worthy. It's not a museum.
True.
People are going there to eat. So I don't care how fancy it looks. If the food doesn't match the environment, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
You could have, and this is why I like New Orleans. You have everything from the grungiest looking places, cooking some of the best food, and then you have some places that are just like eye worthy, and the food is fairly spectacular, right? But this myth about that money can get you into a restaurant. No, the food is the heart of the operation. And if the food doesn't speak to the heart, there's not a thing you can do about it. You can hire all the podcasters you want. You can hire all the influencers you want. It's word of mouth can make you, and word of mouth can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
For every person that goes in there and has a bad experience and they leave there, for every 2 or 3 new heads you can put in there, there's 15 or 20 that ain't coming.
That's true.
And it can happen. It happens very quick. It's just like, back in the day, OG restaurant owners and new people getting into the industry would believe that you only would market when the sales drop. That's so backwards. It's not even funny. You market even more when you're busy, because you want people to come into a vibrant environment and have that buzz and that hype, so that when they leave, it's like, oh yeah, we went there, and yeah, it's happening. Or even if they've, which happens sometimes, they drive from maybe Laval or maybe who knows where they're driving without a reservation, and they get there and they go, you don't have a table for us? No. Did you make a reservation? No. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's it. At the end of the day, you have to really want to be in this space. This space means missing holidays, losing time with your significant other if you have kids. You're truly at the mercy of the business. It's a little bit more intense in the restaurant setting, but it's like any business. I mean, depending what it is. If you were running a marketing company and you had guys out doing jobs here and there, you're still responsible. Or if you're running a transport company, that truck has to get there at 4:00. Like, where is it? It's 4:30. Where is it? What's happening? It breaks down on the road. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the restaurants, it's happening in real time, and it's happening a lot faster. You got employees, some of them quit on the day, don't show up. Then you got to deal with customers on the other side that don't understand the word no, or why can't you do something. So it's a rat race. Then suppliers, you make an agreement that you want calibrated chicken breasts at 6 to 8 ounces. They deliver you 12-ounce chicken breasts, on a Friday before service.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
What do you do with that? Now you got to transform, right? So these are all the little things. The restaurant industry there'll be a lot more little fires for you to put out. Not necessarily big fires. There's a lot of little fires happening in real time, and you have to know how to pivot and deal with these issues.
You got to stay on your toes
you gotta stay on
24/7.
your
It seems like there's always something.
There's
always something.
there's always something. And the interesting thing about the industry, unlike, let's say, an office, for the most part, every single service is different. And you could be doing it for 30 years, 7 days a week. There's no day that you can look at and go, today was like yesterday, or today was like 2 days ago. Every service is different. How the customers order, how the flow is, how the kitchen is executing, everything is different. One Friday night, the room could be crazy loud. Another Friday night, it could be like 60% less than that other night. You might have one loud table, or you might have 6 loud tables, or you walk in and it's like a funeral.
Yeah, you're right. Every service is different. After being in the restaurant business, in the industry, to say, for about 20 years myself, waiter, busboy, dishwasher, everything.
Yeah.
I'm used to all that. I've seen fistfights in a restaurant.
Well, I haven't. Have I seen that? No, only in fast food.
That's only because I was working 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the morning shifts.
Yeah, I was working the late
On
night
Park
shift.
Avenue.
I was working the late night shift
Yeah.
at Burger
You know what
King.
you're getting. You know what you're walking
St.
into.
Lawrence and St. Catherine. So when the clubs would let out, because we closed at 3, guaranteed at least once a week there'd be a fight in the lobby.
Yeah, and look, and you also mentioned that when you're in the business and you're there, you have to give it your all, your commitment. You have to be 24/7.
Yep.
Losing time with your significant other.
Yep.
A lot of people don't talk about the alcohol abuse, the drug abuse in the kitchen, and forget just the kitchen. It could be it's rampant throughout the restaurant industry. A lot of people don't talk about that, but I feel it's directly correlated to the stressful environment in the kitchen. Maybe it could even be that boss that's always like ripping at you and stuff like that.
It's hard to. I can't pinpoint one reason for it, but from the time I got into it, that has always been an issue. I can speak to the alcohol side of it. I can't necessarily speak to the drug side of it. The drinking, never at the start of a shift. It's always at the end of the shift.
Always at the end, celebration.
Right? And it's just like it becomes this kind of routine of we just got through this crazy service. Now we got to clean. And generally speaking, ownership would just give staff drinks, especially kitchen staff. No, does anyone want anything to drink, right? But then you notice you're drinking every night.
Yeah.
You're drinking every night. And then when you're off, this would be the time that you would socially drink with friends and family. So now you're drinking with friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
This hit me years ago when I was applying for, I believe, life insurance or something, right? So you had to do a medical. And one of the questions was, how often do you drink? And I had to look at looking at the form like, well,
But just after a shift.
Just after.
is it 1 to 2 drinks a week? 1 to 2 drinks a day? Up until that point, it never hit me.
It was a wake up call.
Yeah, it clicked.
It was a wake up call. And then I pivoted away from that. Got away from that totally. And now I mean, I'm at getting to the end of the game there. I mean, it's been years now that I don't drink like that at work. Like I just check out. We will try things when they come in, new cocktails or whatever, but the routine of drinking every day, nah, that doesn't happen.
No, you can indulge once in a while. Like you said, there's new cocktails on the menu. You want to taste them. Maybe you have 2, 3 of them just to get a little buzz. But I used to be in the same boat. When we used to finish working, we used to sit there, pour pints of beers for everybody. Somebody's cracking a bottle of whiskey with the owner and everything.
Yeah.
We're all drinking. We're all getting.
Yeah.
Then it got to the point that everybody's coming in hungover every shift. Nobody's on point for service. The owner starts to realize this, and I think he had a wake up call too, like the same thing like you, that he's like, I'm drinking every day, and one day it just stopped completely. No more drinking, no more pints after.
For him or for everybody?
For everybody.
Oh, wow.
He cut it down for everybody.
It's just like I don't know, it's like a hello goodbye type thing in the industry, right? I now as a chef dealing with the other side of things, the drugs. Well, that's a whole other can of worms.
Like one of my favorite chefs out there, Anthony Bourdain, rest in peace. Kitchen Confidential, that book had a lot of great tidbits in there. And he mentions that a lot. He mentions the drug use. And like you said, it doesn't speak to you. You don't know about it. But a lot of people, let's say you just went out the night before. You pulled an all-nighter. You got to get into work. It's either you go to your shift or you get fired.
Yeah.
You need that pick-me-up. And that's what, next thing you know, you're doing it once before the shift. Then you're doing it in the middle of the shift. You're doing it after the shift. And you're doing it every day of the week. It turns into an addiction.
I've worked and managed people on drugs. There's always another reason on top of it, from my experience.
sure.
You know what I mean? But look, even the drinking, like the majority of people are not, yes, by definition of the quantity you're drinking, they could brand you as an alcoholic. But a lot of them are having a pint and they're going home and that's it. So when you have 1 or 2 at the restaurant and then you head to a club, and that's also part of the culture, right? Or it was part of the culture, and that could be done 2-3 times a week. So now you're really starting to get into addiction, because now you're it's not just having that drink at the end of the shift. Now you're throwing back multiple drinks, and now you're not doing it at work. It starts at work, and then you take it somewhere else, right? And it's the same thing with the drugs. I mean, like, I've worked with some cooks or staff that some of them have ended up, taking their lives eventually, because it's that's why I said there's a little bit more to it when it reaches that point, but the routine of always enticing, more as like gratitude for your work,
Exactly.
leads to a chain effect for some people,
No, you're right.
They don't feel they don't want to be left out. They don't want people to look. Why aren't you drinking?
Mm-hmm.
8 of us just went through this tonight. Like, why you always have? So does this?
Just
there's
take a
a
shot.
pure pressure.
Just take a shot.
It's like
just
now
a
it's
shot. Little
now it's a
shot.
team building exercise.
Yeah, it's a team building exercise, right? The good news is that today, 2026, because now we've had like it's new blood coming in. You have a generation that doesn't really drink.
I noticed that as well. The studies are out there. They've been
You
saying
know?
it.
So they're kind of changing the environment. Whereas, like, when he wrote that book, Kitchen Confidential, you could go 15 years before that book and 15 years after that book, and that you're right in it.
This is the same era.
Yeah, you're right in it, right? Where it's just crazy.
You mentioned something about we're gonna segue back to
Okay.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you can have the most fanciest looking restaurant with an aesthetic and everything,
Yeah.
but if the food is not good, it's not good. For some reason, like you brought up New Orleans right away. That was like your example. Was that trip? Was New Orleans? How did you pivot to Bistro Nolah? What was the birth of Bistro Nolah and why?
that
type
comes
of cuisine.
that comes from when I graduated. So when you finish cooking school, you have to kind of decide where you're going to practice your craft. So you pick. If you come out and you follow what you learned in school, you'll end up at a French bistro because you're learning all those techniques. It's based on French cuisine, right? But then you could go Italian, you could go Greek, you could go, then it's a question, do you want to do bistro? Do you want to do fine dining, fusion? You could pick a variety of things, right? For me, French wasn't going to be it. One, yes, there's some things that you can apply to certain dishes, that's fine. But as a whole, no. Greek and Italian didn't interest me. Cooking the food that I grew up on, yes and no. So I wanted something different. And for me, at that time, it was Cajun Creole. So then that's when I had to go and find a chef in the city that cooks that style of food. Rest in peace, Chef Michael Benorgan. And I reached out to him, worked free with him for like 5 months out of school because I still had my job at the hospital. And then through working with him, the first opportunity out of school happened. One of the waiters working there, his girlfriend and him decided to open a restaurant. This is before Monkland Village became Monkland Village. It was basically two trendy restaurants on that strip at the time. One was the Tavern, and then this couple opened up a place called Mojo, and that's where I worked. With a chef at the time that graduated from the not New England, Vermont Culinary School, which at the time was like top 3 in the United States, right? So for me, it was an opportunity to work with someone who, the course at the time was like 45,000 US or whatever it was. So 2-year course, it's almost 100K.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my culinary skills just took off working with him because we were doing everything in-house, baking, breaking down fish, meats, and getting the opportunity to work the line, getting the opportunity to create blackboard specials. It was just like full on, right?
Carte blanche freedom.
But then staying in touch with Michael, because that's really what I wanted to do. Other opportunities popped up doing that style of cooking. And the main one was Cajun Blues in St. Anne's, working for a couple. That was 2 years of just growth for me. But all good things must come to an end. So left that and went back to work. And I was actually supposed to replace Michael where he was working at the time. But then another opportunity presented itself for me downtown. More of a challenge and more to build, to let me understand what it is to really run an institution and a place that was going to demand 200% of me every single day. So I couldn't say no to that. as daunting as it seemed at the time, I said, no, I have to throw myself into the fire, and hopefully I don't get 3rd and 4th degree burns. And that was gold. And that led then to another opportunity. And then from that last opportunity, then the opportunity to open up Nolah happened, right? And that journey, just the evolution of, when I look back at Cajun Blues and then know what we're doing today, it's like it's worlds worlds apart.
Okay.
Flavor profile, the presentation of the plates and everything, it's night and day.
And when you do have a partner, if I'm not mistaken. Two partners. When you guys opened up Bistro Nolah, was it a success from the beginning, or was it trials and tribulations?
We listen. We won't. Nothing. Listen. When we opened, we weren't known.
Mm-hmm.
Like who? Yes, was running the Willow for X amount of time, 9 years, so interacting with a lot of people, and we transformed that place from where it was heading. But we knew what we were bringing to the table, and we knew the area that we were opening in, and steel sharpens steel. I wasn't worried about what was being offered in the West Island. For us, applying what we knew and how we as a group saw things and how we wanted things, I just said, what you put in is what you get out. So the body of work will speak for itself. And the funny story is, now that you're asking me this, because I'm thinking back to when we first opened, it was, I don't know, it's probably like a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. This couple came in and they saw the menu and the pricing, and they were kind of thrown off. Who are these guys? Like,
It's too expensive.
Are they
You're not
charging this
gonna
for that?
last.
So the waitress came over and she says to me, "Chef, I don't know. These guys are like, this couple, they're like," I said, "You know what? It's their first time here, so I'm going to do something." So I sent something out for them. Then they ordered. And then he came over to me at the end of the meal and he says to me, he goes, "That's one of the best meals I've ever had." He says, "But I don't know if you're going to survive in the West Island."
Wow.
At least he was being honest with you.
I'm curious what you served them.
I think at the time it was actually scallops.
Oh,
It was one of the dishes that he took, right? I forget what the other dish was. And I told him, "Thank you." And during that conversation, I said to him, he said, because he was talking about pricing, I said, "I don't discount quality. You told me that was the best plate you had in a long time, and there's a reason for that, because of what comes through the back door. So I can't discount it."
I love that.
It's like, not everyone can go into BMW and Mercedes.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can.
You can't, just look at the
You
cars.
can walk into look, but you're not making that purchase, right? This is the thing I don't understand about the average consumer. Don't put yourself, why are you going to a place that's out of your budget?
You're not going to get to experience the way you're supposed to, right?
Like, if you know that your budget is $40, why are you coming to Nolah?
Yeah, look, some people, they're better off going to McDonald's or something that's more in their range. It's not a shot at them.
No.
But
I'm curious, did that person ever come back?
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
nice.
It's, when you see the reviews, "Oh, it was too pricey." No, it's not too pricey. It's just out of your budget. Because you're not saying the food was trash and the service was trash. You're just saying it was too pricey.
look, we're getting into quality right now.
Yeah,
So quality, you're paying for quality. The quality is there.
yeah.
Do you go to some places and expect a 5-star meal and you want to pay $20 for it? No, we ate the duck confit. The service first of all, the team was top notch. The waiter was, shout out to Chris.
Chris is great.
He knew exactly what he was telling us. He explained the dish thoroughly to Jimmy and everything. We got it. Just the coulis or the raspberry sauce, delicious. Everything was 10 on 10. The environment was 10 on 10. And that's what you're paying for. You're paying for every little thing.
Yeah, but still, it's look, I'll kind of give you this example. If you go to a Michelin star restaurant that's 3 stars, you are well within your rights to become a food critic, because that place is telling you, we are going to take $800 out of your pocket, but you're coming here for an experience.
Mm-hmm. Not a meal.
What you're about to have here, you cannot create in 1,000 dreams. So you go in there, you're going in there knowing your pocketbook is taking a hit.
Mm-hmm. So
it's like going to a show, right? A concert. Usher suddenly can't lose his voice. You can't overcook the steak that's part of that tasting menu. The server can't spill a drink on me. You have to bring 100% of your game, right? Now we roll it back. Some of these people think that if you're used to going to Bell Pro, marathons, and then you want to go to a bistro downtown, that there's a connection to all these places, and there isn't. So you're getting table service. The waiter's taking the time to explain the menu. The place is aesthetically clean. They're using good ingredients. How do you want to change the narrative? You got value for your experience. Yes. And if you find it's too pricey, then it's not a place for you.
Mm-hmm. Don't discount quality. Like
you can't discount quality. And that's this big misconception that if we had 2 restaurants, so if we had Nolah downtown, those prices are acceptable. But because the restaurant's in the West Island, those prices are not acceptable. The products come from the same supplier. Mm-hmm. So what is the difference going to be? They're going to say, well, the rent. Okay, so let's say the rent is $1,000 more or $1,000 less. That changes nothing. Mm-hmm. Changes nothing. That's such a like this minuscule in something like this, right? But there is a difference. Come to the West Island, you drive up to the restaurant, you get out your car and you go in. Mm-hmm. You go downtown, you're going to spend 30 to 45 minutes, and then you're going to have to end up spending $30 for parking.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So the yin and the yang here, right? But that was the conversation, like, why are you charging downtown? Because what does that have to do with anything? Mm-hmm. It's about the package. It doesn't matter if the package is in the woods in Mount Tremblant. That's what the cost is.
Yeah. And I think it comes back to, you got to know your worth. You're not going to slash prices, go on a fire sale to sell your food because you think it's not going to sell. You know how good the food is.
Yeah, eating out is not mandatory. You don't have to go to a restaurant.
And speaking of eating out, a lot of people say, oh, it's cheaper to eat at McDonald's. Do you realize how much a trio at McDonald's costs nowadays? That's not cheap anymore. It's $20. I'd rather spend $42 on a duck confit, enjoy the meal, feel full, have all the trimmings.
Listen, we've reached a point now where, which I honestly think it benefits the argument for restaurants, is when you go to the grocery store now, you're feeling it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So there's certain things that you absolutely cannot do cheaper. When I say cheaper, meaning it's not just the purchase, it's your time.
Yeah.
So beef prices have gone through the roof, right? Mm-hmm. So like example, if you go to Costco, for example, those steaks used to be $45 or $50. Now they're like $65, yes. $70, and $80. Yes. So let's say you buy 4 of them. They're $20 steaks a pop, right? 20, 40, 60, 80 packs of 4. You go to the restaurant, basically that same steak might set you back $65 or $70. But here's the catch. You're getting your steak, you're getting whatever comes with it. You're in and out in 2 hours. You take these steaks home, you got to fire up the grill.
Yep.
You got to cook the potatoes.
Yep.
So now it becomes time for money. Time for money. If you're craving beef, you're better off going to the restaurant. In and out, and then you do something else with your time. When you start getting into like example, they're crying, they cry for things, but you go and have pasta. This is probably the simplest thing to do to this day.
I'm very biased against pasta. I do not like going to a restaurant and spending money on pasta because I feel like it costs $2 to make that plate.
Well, technically it does if there's no protein, right? So you can have your basic tomato sauce or rosé sauce or even a fungi sauce, adding mushrooms to it. The actual pasta itself is not expensive. It's what you do with it, right? That you can have a conversation, right? But it's still, now we're getting into time for money. Once upon a time, it was a no-brainer. Going to the grocery store was like 60 to 70% cheaper
Yeah.
than going to the restaurant.
It was worth it to get your groceries, cook your food.
You go out as a couple and spend $150. $150 at one time.
Fridge is full.
Your fridge is full for the week. And then some. No, that's not the case anymore.
I spent $75 2 days ago. It's all gone.
So that has changed the game. Like everyone was talking about a recession could still happen, but restaurants are still full.
But there's also what have we been seeing? 6,000 or 7,000 restaurants have closed the past year.
Yeah, that's going to happen. A lot of that's going to happen because a lot of people don't realize that the margins are not great for this business. And now we've had to pivot and change things, right? And now you have people screaming even more, oh, it's expensive. Well, yeah, because once upon a time it was mainly based on food costs. And we had a formula to figure that out. That formula is broken. It's been broken because of all the increases. Labor costs went up. Equipment costs went up. Repairs to equipment, everything, coming out of COVID or prior to COVID, you would get incremental increases. Glasses might go up. Linen might go up. That brand of range might go up. Never in the history of this business did we get an increase on everything
in one
at
shot.
the same time. That just threw the model right out the window. If you were just basing it on that formula, you'd go under in no time. So you have to take this into consideration when you're creating plates, because where else are you going to get it? Especially now when you have a new movement where you're not getting add-on sales. A lot of people are drinking less. So, and then sometimes people come in and they're like, just having mains. Whereas before they would come in and have cocktails, appetizer, main, dessert, maybe a bottle of wine. Man, if you have those clients, treat them like gold, put them on a VIP list. Because sometimes now the new thing is a couple comes in, they'll each have an appetizer and share a main. Or they'll have one appetizer and 2 mains. Or they might come in and just have mains and 1 dessert.
Times are tough.
Times are tough, Or you get a table of 5, 6 people coming in and they just have straight mains, water, they're in and they're out.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm the straight main guy. I come in, I eat my main, I leave. I drink once a week.
Most guys are like
I
that.
need my appetizers. 2 appetizers, 2 mains, and a little cocktail.
Yeah,
Just
most guys are like that. Women tend to be not like that.
If I'm with my girlfriend, a whole different story.
You see, that's how that operates, right? Because they're going out for one, if you're in a relationship, you have to make that night special. Especially if you're going to, like, doesn't matter, a Nolah or, I don't know, another Bistro or whatever.
We went to Jerome Ferrer, I think a few months ago. He had his yearly anniversary special, and it was an experience, like you mentioned. Like when you go out to these places, it's for the experience. And the price point, I mentioned to Paul, he was supposed to come with me, but
He bowed out.
he bowed out. He never responded.
I never saw that message.
And it was $99. No, it was $90. $90 for 9 courses, 10 courses.
Each.
$90 each. But it was worth every penny. And the food was it's our second time going. And just having all these little things coming out and the way they're presenting them. The dessert at the end, it's like a treasure chest with chocolate. They present it to you. You eat the chocolate out of the chest. It was a show. And that's what I liked about it. And we could say that we went to a Michelin star restaurant and we ate. And so that's the type of things.
So going back a bit, when you talk about like the price increase on everything across the board, as a restaurant owner, how do you adapt to that? Like, do you pass the price on to the client? Do you reduce the portions of the size? Like, how do you adjust?
Look, a restaurant is a revenue center. So when you walk through the door, you know, this is how waiters live. This is how cooks live. This is how owners live, by customers coming through the door. So yeah, you have to produce a product for your clients, and that product is going to come at a cost, and you have to make those adjustments. Now, it's all about balancing your menu. Some things you're going to break even, and that's fine because you're not selling. That's not in terms of your point of sale.
That's the loss item.
It's an item that is not. It's not 30% of what you're selling. This might be 2 or 3%, but it just builds out your menu having that item. You're not throwing anything out. You're just not moving as many of that specific item. Then you have your items that you move that you really got to lock in the food cost, and this is how you survive.
Stay afloat, yeah.
Stay afloat, right? That's becoming a real dance these days. Like now we have this current situation with fuel, gas, etc. It's a question of when they're going to drop the hammer on us again. Then you're going to see another increase across the board, right? Because the funny thing is, a lot of people focus on the fact that regular gas is $1.80. That could stay $1.80 forever. We can cry about the $1.80. Diesel at $2.56 is the problem. That should be like $1. If you want to see the cost of living change across the board, and I'm not no economist, but 2 + 2 = 4. If diesel was at $1.25 or $1.50, the landscape should change. Why? Because we look at how we get produce, or how produce moves globally. It's by ship, it's by air, it's by truck, it's by train. And what do all of these have in common?
Diesel.
Planes kerosene, but it's still along the same lines, right? But ships diesel, trains diesel, trucks diesel. If the cost of transport has doubled and tripled, where does that get passed on to?
True. I know it's only been like a few months. What's actually not even a few months. I think it's only a month. What's going on with the Strait of Hormuz and all this?
Yeah.
Is that affecting the restaurant right now in terms of nothing? But we could have potentially in a few months something could.
You know how it works, right? If when the pockets are not getting lined at that whatever that percentage is for them, they're going to look to get their money, right?
That's going to be from us.
But even we're like this right now. As a society, we can't take too many more of the the ones who control the narrative are going to have to start taking a hit themselves, because you can only push so far before things break.
So you break the straw on the camel's back.
It's like we're getting we're getting to that point where people are just like, can't do it anymore.
Look, I feel like we've been saying this for the last 10, 15 years, especially me, since I'm a conspiracy theorist and everything. I've been saying that, the people are going to rise up. It's going to be time. Something's going to push them to the brink. Honestly, I just feel like we're never going to step up to the powers that be and try to reclaim.
Not here in Canada.
No, definitely not here.
I always used to hear, power to the people, but realistically, looking at the environment, the climate, and like how things are running and how things are going, it seems like people lost the power a long time ago. It seems like we're dispensable now with AI, with all these new technologies coming about. Look at the restaurant industry; things are changing completely.
We're just along for the ride.
We're along for the ride now.
We're along for the ride. It's it's listen, man, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really tough. So I don't know. I don't know where this is. I don't know where this is going.
Like I think I saw an article quoting that there's going to be about 40,000 restaurants predicted to close in Canada over the next year.
I believe it.
Like, how do you see the future of the restaurant industry for 5 years down the road if things continue the way they are? And what can change it from leading up to that point like that, do you think?
Listen, restaurants will never disappear because it's stitched into society. Mm-hmm. It's a place where you go to celebrate special occasions. It's a place where you go to de-stress. It's a place where you gather with friends. So restaurants it's a part of society. Restaurants aren't disappearing and restaurants aren't going anywhere. However, certain restaurants or certain styles of restaurants you might see take a hit. And that I can get, like, one example I can give you. Montreal is not a city of fine dining. And when I define fine dining, Michelin star restaurants, and talking 3 stars. So you go to New York, hundreds. You go to Chicago, they got numbers. Japan, forget it. So, and there's money. Here, anyone in that space is at jeopardy because the money is not there to sustain those restaurants. We don't have that many here. Whereas you go to like Chicago or New York and these places are packed and they're turning, right? It's not to say that they won't have some impact from all of this. But as things get more and more expensive, there's going to be some hemorrhaging. How it's all related to where you're located, all these other metrics fall into the equation. That's the best answer that I could possibly give you. No one really knows. But if prices keep going the way they're going, people are gonna have to make decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next thing you know, it's you're ordering your food from Amazon Prime. It's being delivered to your house. That's it. There is no restaurants. Who knows? Something like that.
No, I wouldn't even be surprised now because people became so introverted during COVID and whatnot that they don't really long to go for that outside experience at the restaurant with a lot of people. Not everybody, but it seems like people are been more accustomed to just having it directly sent to them. Like they don't really want that experience.
Yeah, that's another, but that's not cheap.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not.
It's even more expensive.
It's more expensive.
That's not cheap, and
Fees.
that makes no sense to me personally. When I see some of the Uber orders, I'm like, this is crazy.
Some food can't be Ubered. I'm like, some food needs to be eaten at the place. I find you're
for
losing.
the experience, right?
Exactly.
Uber's a whole other can of worms. I don't get it. But it's not cheap.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination, right? Look, man, I know that changes are coming. How it's going to affect the industry as a whole, we just have to wait and see, And you're right. A lot of places will close because it's when if you make like a $2 or $3 million investment, imagine if I said, hey guys, let's, give me $1 million each. We're going to do this thing here. And you're going to say to me, okay, so Rich, when am I going to start getting? Well, I said, well, we'll see.
Maybe in 5 years we'll get a little something
We'll
back.
see. Well, when would I get the initial investment back? For sure, like you're going to have to sit on this for like 10 years.
Yeah.
You could find a lot of other vehicles to invest that money in and make 15, maybe 20, or in some cases 30%. You're not getting that in this. It's not happening.
Like, I think when somebody approaches you to become partners and the first thing they're asking is like, when am I going to get the money back?
That's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign because it's obviously about the money before anything else, which, yes, we're in it for the money. But if you're not passionate about it, that's why I keep saying, like, you have to have great partners when you're going to get into the business. If you're going to do it solo, you do it solo. But if you get partners, vet them, make sure they're going to be across the board perfect. Like, you're all on the same page, basically. Because I had an ex-partner, and it started off nice, fine and dandy. We had a contract. Like, we put in the money. I put in the money. Somebody else put in the money. And we had a working partner. So, basically, you work. We'll give you a third of the business as well. We were crazy back then to even offer that. But it got to the point that I would see small things. Like, he would take money out of the cash, go buy cigarettes, take the money from here, do this. And it was just, he was using it as a piggy bank. And the restaurant obviously didn't survive that long because of things like that. And that's why I think having a partner, I believe it's 14 years, the business? 15. If you want to last 15 years, you got to have top-notch partners in this game.
I think talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, I think that's the one common theme I see a lot is the team that you build around you, especially in the restaurant industry as well, being that it's so demanding, so 24/7, that is it even sustainable for one person to do it all by themselves? I'm sure they can, but from what I'm seeing, it's a lot.
You, if it's husband, wife, those dynamics work to some degree. It's a family business. Well, yeah, you could listen. It's not to say you cannot do it by yourself, but you cannot do it by yourself. You see, you're gonna have to then rely on others. You have to delegate. It's not a one-man show. Forget it. It does not. And that speaks to the size of the place. Are we talking a 10-seat place? Are we talking a 100-seat, a 50-seat place? No. It's good when you have. It's always good to have a partner, especially in this in anything in any kind of business where you're serving the public.
For sure.
Because what happens if you get sick?
I think that goes for any business. You can, like, even if you're the sole owner or whatever it may be, you're gonna have to delegate. You're gonna have to have a right-hand man. You're gonna have to have somebody you trust to lock up, open up, stuff like that. So I totally agree with you on that.
So it's partnerships can work if you're aligned. If that's not the case, then those partnerships where someone is only bringing money to the equation, those kind of only money, that means they're not invested in the day-to-day.
Exactly.
That doesn't. That ends up that just burns out very quick.
That's it's wisdom right there. I wanted to get into. We were talking on Instagram. You had shared something with the jazz musicians back in the day, and you were telling me how, like, the whole city has basically changed and how it's sort of it's ruined in the sense of the music side and all the history from the 70s and the 60s.
Well, I don't know how far back you want to go.
But wherever you feel like you want to start.
Well, I mean, look, it's before. It's actually, it's before my time. But like Montreal was a city that was on par with, actually was probably ahead of New York or on par with New York at one point in time, going, I don't know, 40s, 50s, 60s. You know, like you had legendary clubs here. And even when I was going downtown in my late teens and early 20s, there was still a scene here. But then again, now look, I'm saying that, and now we have to say this. The club scene has completely changed.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, before it was about going out and having a good time, and we didn't have these cell phone moments. Who the last thing you wanted to have in your hand was a cell phone when you hit a club. You were there to listen to a DJ, dance the night away, and get home at 4:00 in the morning and get up and go to school or go to work, right? The city was popping with clubs and groups and entertainers and now it's just, I don't know, it's just like a shell of it of what it used
Cone
to be.
City.
You know, it seems like back in the day, it was about having a good time, and now it's all about looking like you're having a good time. So you gotta get a reel, you gotta get a story just to show how packed the club is or how popular something is. And
I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like everything else now in life. I mean, back then, DJs had skills.
they could scratch.
They could scratch, they could mix. You know, like you had to have skills. You could not, like if you were a DJ back in the day and you had a residency, like you were a DJ. Like you had a set of skills. I mean, today now it's like, I don't know what it is. It's
I think part of the problem today is accessibility, right? Anybody could pick it up or go buy that product or go buy that board or go buy that camera and call themselves a DJ, a photographer,
Yeah.
a restaurant owner. They could do whatever. It's just so much more accessible than it was before.
Well, back then you had to hone your craft. Yeah, you actually had to mix. You had to scratch and stuff like that. Now you just sync. You press the sync button.
Yeah.
But you know what it is? It's like anything else. It's about what your client or consumer wants, right? Back then, you had to deliver. People were out for you to deliver, right? It was about you taking them on a journey. Now it's, I don't know what it is now. Now it's, I mean, you see these things on Instagram and it's like, everyone has a phone in their hand.
Yeah.
And some of these DJs, I don't know where they came from. I just look at it and go, you know what? I enjoyed my time. No, it's up. Like this new generation. That's how they enjoy the space. God bless them.
It's like when you go to a concert. Back in the day, the artist would perform.
Yes.
Now they're lip syncing over their own tracks, and you pay $200 a ticket to watch them walk around and sing over a recording, and it's acceptable.
It's yeah. We're living in different times, man. It's completely changed. Yeah, and like I said, you know, before this city was popping.
That's also what I wanted to get. Like we said, the city was popping before, and it just started fizzling out the scene, the nightlife scene.
Yeah.
We had Maxime Aurelian on the show
Yeah.
a year ago, and he was basically talking about the scene back in the day and how it was like, I would say maybe they were trying to suppress the English language. They didn't want to have too much of that going on. They were closing a lot of clubs that were black owned or affiliated with.
Well, that was
There was a lot of racism, put it that way. I wanted to like tread on it lightly.
Well, no, but that's a fact. Like Crescent Street, way back in the day, would not allow brothers into the club.
And he told me some very, very disgusting thing. The paper bag rule. There was a paper bag rule that the bouncers used to operate by. If you were darker than a paper bag, they would not let you in.
Well, that's something that I just learned
That's
today.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
But guaranteed, yeah, they would not allow you in. And it's funny because once upon a time on Crescent, it was all about rock groups. That's all you heard. Def Leppard, Bon Jovi. You know, you could not play R&B in these places.
Yeah.
You definitely could not play hip hop like that. The first time I heard, and NWA was at Club Business. Because Club Business, you see that, yeah. So that predates you guys. So that's when I remember when I was clubbing, the house music scene, which was thriving in Chicago, New York, crossed over here and it started to make waves in clubs here, right? People wanted to know what this sound was. It was the same thing with hip hop, forget it. R&B was starting to make its way in, but it was getting resistance in all these main clubs on Crescent was like that was like club, like the central spot in Montreal at the time. You know, and then it changed later on. It went back to Saint Laurent, and it was down in old Montreal or whatever. But it worked its way in. Then they started to accept R&B, and they were pushing out hip hop, right? And it's funny because the hip hop or rap back then was more conscious,
Yeah.
right? The garbage that they play today, for the most part, there's nothing conscious about a lot of it. 90% of it.
It's all drug
Back
use,
then, all of it had a message. They didn't want to hear, they did not want to let that message shine, right? Now this stuff, they allow it all over the airwaves, but kids are getting killed behind it.
it's serving a purpose for the
See?
Yeah.
See how this twist? I remember with NWA, they had a track about, what was it again? Something shoot the police or whatever. I can't remember what it was.
I think it was fuck the police.
Or whatever, right? And they would get arrested if they played that track.
True.
And it did happen at some venues, right? And now today, I was like, you can talk about killing this, killing that, whatever. It's all fine and dandy. Like I don't know what to
I
tell
don't
you.
know. I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist myself, right?
We said it's social engineering. You do this on
Exactly.
purpose.
Right? Like you don't want to promote that positive message, right? You want to keep people trapped within that little bubble.
Yeah.
And like you have that conscious underground hip hop music, then you have that commercial music.
Yep.
Because what they're doing essentially is they're selling you a product, right?
Yeah.
If it's not a lifestyle, it's that Gucci bag. It's that jeans, that liquor, that headphones, whatever you want. They're selling you something. That's why there was so much music in hip hop up until recently, where it's kind of died down a little bit. But I find one of the forms of music or the genres of music where they sell you the most things, and it's usually backed by money.
Yeah.
I don't listen to anything new.
Same.
And it has to be something. It's not to say that some people aren't making good music, but 80% or 85% of the music that I listen to is all 90s,
Yeah.
2000,
Same.
like, and that's it on replay, because what's being produced today.
Oh, it's
Like for instance, Nas, he came out with like his first couple of tracks were like more grittier, right?
Yeah,
And he got his foot in the door. Then you have songs like "If I Ruled the World," and he's telling how young black children can be kings and this and that, and that didn't get as much shine at all. You know what I mean? They're only highlighting the stuff that's a little more negative, a little more street, a little more gritty, and it goes back to that's not the message that they want to give to the masses.
no,
Yeah.
KRS-One. I mean, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. That whole group. I mean, Jay-Z to some extent, DMX to some extent. There was always a message,
Yes.
yeah.
right? Or they would tell you street stories. Today, especially drill rap, that's a whole other.
Yeah, it's about murdering people and
That's my gym playlist. I'm not gonna lie. That's my gym. You know what it is? I find like hip hop back in the day was a medium of which people voice their issues and their complaints, right? And they got their stories across. And now it seems like music is just noise. It's funny. I watched a video. I think it was Nelly talking about his competition at the time. It was Jay-Z, it was Eminem, it was 50 Cent,
Yeah.
Ludacris, all these guys. And he said all these artists had a unique sound. DMX didn't sound like Jay-Z, Jay-Z didn't sound like Nas. And now it seems like every artist sounds like every other artist because that's what's trending at the time. So it's just noise.
But that's a funny thing. It applies also to food in some areas. When I was starting out in the food scene, no chef wanted to be like any other chef. Every chef wanted to have his own interpretation of food.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now you can go on Instagram and look at a bunch of places and the plates all look the same.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, the style of plate, the plating, you have a whole generation that is just kind of mimicking each other. Back then, one restaurant to another, like it was like you went in and it was totally different. Our plating is not like anyone else's plating. And there's a few of us that are still like that. I call us the OGs. We just do our own thing. I don't care what the trend is. Sometimes you'll see a trend or you'll take one component of that trend and blend it in. But by no stretch of the imagination is it a complete duplicate of someone else's plating work.
This just threw me off right now.
It's all good.
I like the comparison that you made to music and food.
Yeah.
The oversaturation of that type of music, it feels like the oversaturation of smash burgers right now. Everywhere you go, it's smash burgers, smash burgers, smash burgers.
Well, it was like coming out of COVID, it was fried chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was doing some version of hot chicken or chicken this or chicken that. I mean, chicken's around, it's been around for 100 years or whatever, right? It being fried or whatever, probably 50, 60 years type thing. But now, yeah, now you have the smash burger. Where's your favorite smash burger, by the way?
There's a place called Smash. It's on Jean Talon. It's my favorite smash burger. That's number one. Two is La Hamburger. I think it's on Saint Hubert around there.
Okay, that's the original one, I believe.
That's the original. But to me, like, there's not that much uniqueness to anything. It's the sauce. There's always a different sauce. But besides that, the patties are the same. The cheese is good old American
Honestly,
cheese.
I'm biased. Like for me, a good burger is a good burger, but I had never really had a burger that blew my mind. I'm like, wow, this is something incredible. And maybe that's just me, but I'm very biased. My girl makes a mean smash burger. Just that yellow cheese, that double little patties, and a nice little bun, onions, pickles.
It's all about the crispy edges.
Yes, it has to be.
Right? It's all about the crispy edges. So I mean, like you said, a good burger is a good burger. The thing with the smash burger for me is, you're getting at most
One burger.
4 ounces of meat if you do a double patty.
Exactly.
And it still costs you like $16. So that's a little bit crazy.
I think smash burgers is one of those things where how you eat it makes a difference. Like I said before, sometimes, like I had fast food the other day at the actual restaurant as opposed to drive through, as opposed to Uber, and it hits different. Like, have you ever had a pizza from a pizza shop directly there? Man, amazing.
Oh, 100%.
Amazing.
It doesn't travel the same.
No.
As soon from the time a plate of food is executed, you're on the clock for that plate to start to deteriorate. It just starts to lose its integrity the longer you wait to consume it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you can do takeout, but it's not the same as when it just went in the container.
Yeah.
30 minutes later, right?
In the back seat of a driver's car, getting cold.
Fast food's the same thing. I mean, yes, there's tricks to the trade. They do a lot of R&D in that. Like 25 minutes from now, what's the integrity of the product like? They invest a lot of money. The bun is not soggy. the cheese hasn't just kind of run all over a lot of research goes into that. But yeah, for sure, it's not the same. When you eat out, eating right there is gold versus taking it out. It's not the same. I mean, Chinese food, Chinese takeout is probably one of the best. They've mastered that over decades of you being able to order and then get it home, and the integrity of it is pretty much intact. But not too many other cuisines.
No, I agree with that. Definitely. I know we've been running a little long on this one. How long so far? An hour 20. Perfect. But see, look, we touched on a lot of things. I wanted to make it a little different than a usual podcast about restaurants and foods. I'm glad that we got to touch on a lot of other subjects that you had so much knowledge that you share with us. I mentioned Anthony Bourdain.
Yep.
Rick Stein is also one chef that I used to watch all the time. Who are your influences, like, when it comes to the restaurant scene?
No one today.
No one today.
Let me think about that. No, because I am, like I said, I stay true to the OGs, like Alfred Portal, Patrick Clark, who's passed away, Charlie Trotter to some degree, how intricate the dishes were and the flavor profiling and the presentation. I mean, that was a movement, right? Now we're into something else. But I shouldn't say that, because no, there's a lot of new talent out there that I look at. Especially there's like this black chef movement. Some chefs coming out of Jamaica, chefs coming out of the UK, some American chefs that are really like raising the bar on the presentation. One of the guys I've been following for the last minute is a buddy of mine in the UK, Jason O'Howard. If you looked him up on your phone, you'd see the kind of stuff that he does. It's like Michelin star worthy. It's just a matter of time before I think he actually gets one. And there's a lot of chefs now in New Orleans. There's oh God, I hate when you gotta try and remember names. There's a chef in New Orleans that's doing African, and he's kind of pairing it with New Orleans cuisine. There's another girl. Her parents are from Jamaica. She's from the UK, and she has a spot also in New Orleans. So I shouldn't say that I don't follow, because I do follow them. Like, they're taking like Caribbean food and an African food and putting a modern day twist to it. Like, when you see some of the plates and the complexity of some of the plates that they're putting out, it's pretty incredible. There's another chef, Chef Carmichael, from I think he's in Brooklyn or Harlem.
It's funny that you're mentioning all these chefs, and the only ones like I would be able to mention is Wolfgang Puck, Gordon Ramsay, and
very commercial.
They're
the mainstream ones.
They're the OGs, but there's a new talent of chefs that are especially, you know what? There's always a movement in culinary, and what I'm seeing now is a lot of chefs from the islands, from Africa. They're making strides to the point where I think that they're gonna just break through in a big way.
I know we're running low. I just have one more question. Cause
Wait 1 second. Jimmy, how's it? Is it recording or not? This one, no. Okay, that one just died.
It died.
Is this one the big one right here? Okay, so now we gotta end it.
Okay, it's all good. So you gonna do the finale?
I'm sure you said you wanted to ask one last question. Your camera's still good.
No, it wasn't that though. It wasn't this.
Oh yes,
Yes.
Richard. We almost left without the most important.
What's the?
So we're running low on our interview right now. The camera battery is dying, and the memory is actually full on that camera.
Really?
It should only go for like about an hour and 20,
Oof.
because we never go longer than that.
Oh,
So
there's a lot of
I
good
feel
information.
very blessed to have gone for an hour and a half with you. There's something that we do at the end of the episode
Yes.
called dropping a gem. Bestow some knowledge onto the people out there. It could be to the chefs, it could be to entrepreneurs, restaurateurs, whatever tidbit you think that they should know, drop it on them.
So I have to drop.
You gotta drop the gem.
A gem.
We drop it after you say the gem, though. Don't worry.
You throw me for a loop.
You're on the spot, but it doesn't matter. Take your time. We'll edit it.
What would be the gem? What is relative to what's happening right now? I would say patience and consistency.
Patience and consistency. 2 words. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Richard Taitt, thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to give a shout out to the people out there, it's up to you. Say something about Bistro Nolah, maybe to Chris. Say what's up.
Come check us out this summer. 3669 Boulevard St. John, Cajun, Creole. Yeah, come by and check it out. It's different. We're celebrating 15 years. Come and get a taste of what it's like when you visit New Orleans. And we're not covering the full gamut of the food that you can get there, but we can give you an idea of what you would experience if you go down there to visit.
Awesome. And the best duck confit in the city.
That's the fourth time this guy has mentioned a duck confit.
Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of the Hustle Podcast. We out.
Welcome to the hustle. If your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle, this is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle. Under pressure, never break or fold. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now welcome to the hustle.